Hello out there, knitters. How are you today? Welcome to episode 20 of the Treehouse Knit podcast. My name is Rachel and I will be your host today. I can't believe that I've gotten up to 20 episodes. I really appreciate all my old subscribers since the very beginning, as well as anyone new who may have joined midway, or if you're new today to the podcast, welcome. Today on episode 20, we have quite a few things because it's been a while since I've been here. First off, I wanted to share with you some acquisitions that I have made over the last few weeks, as well as a project that my dad and I worked on briefly to eliminate slipperiness from your slippers. I'll also talk about some works in progress. I have no finished objects because I really had cast-on-itis the last couple of weeks. So I'll show you some works in progress that I have, talk a little bit about a trip that my local knitting guild made to a brand new fiber mill in the area. And then we will finish off with, I guess, a couple of spinning objects, finished objects that I've worked on. We'll talk briefly about Lincoln Longwool and about Coopworth. So that is our plan for today. So how are you all doing out there? I hope that you are enjoying your knitting. A lot of us are in much cooler weather now, and it's definitely our season to just really enjoy our knitting, and also some of us make some knitted items to give as gifts. So if you're in the gift giving mode, I hope that that's going smoothly for you as well. You can find everything that I'm talking about today in my show notes, which I post on my website, which is thknits.com. I also post a link in my Ravelry podcast page. We're Treehouse Knits Podcast on Ravelry. Come join us if you want to be part of our little group. And also I post within Instagram, where I am Treehouse Knits as well. So you can find me on all those social medias pretty much as Treehouse Knits. I also, last week, I got the sewing bug, and I have lots of fabric at my disposal. I'm very grateful to have all the fabric that I've inherited from family and friends, fabric that I've purchased along the way, and I just felt like making some project bags. I have more project bags than I would ever need in a lifetime, so I threw some up on an Etsy shop, which I called Treehouse Knit Studio. And I guess just every so often I'll plop in some items onto that website, or onto Etsy shop as well, and I'll let y'all know on Instagram if I do that. And since it's my 20th episode, I thought we definitely need to celebrate a little bit, and I have a little giveaway that I'll talk about at the end of the podcast. Okay, so my favorite acquisition that I got in the mail was actually a gift that I received. I won a prize from Hannah Kaita's podcast. Hannah, I've mentioned her before. She's a knitting friend that lives in Finland, and she has a great podcast. I'll link her podcast here as well. And gives away a lot of unique items that she's created herself. And what did I win but this amazing bag? This is her knitted skulls bag, which is actually a pattern on Ravelry called Mind the Skulls. So you can find this on Ravelry. It's incredible. I cannot believe I won this as a gift. This handmade item, it's made with fingering weight yarn, and I just thought the yarn is so soft and it does color work so well. So I right away emailed her and said, "What yarn is that?" And she laughed and said that it's actually from Stonehenge Fiber Mill here in Michigan, that another friend of hers from Michigan sent to her as a gift, and she used it to make this amazing project bag. Right now I have in it some socks that I thought made sense going in there, because this wool is actually from Hannah that she sent to me from Finland, that I love for socks. I've talked about that before on my podcast. It's called, oh, this sock yarn is so wonderful. It's called, here, Novita Nale Taika. I'm sure I'm saying it all wrong. And Hannah, you are laughing at me right now. But, oh, it's just such great yarn. I'm not going to talk about this project because I haven't gotten very far in it because some Christmas socks came along. But this is such a nice, solid, thick toothy sock yarn that wears so well. I love it. But anyway, back to the bag. Look at this drawstring, these awesome tassels. This is such a cute, cute bag. So take a look at that on Ravelry if you're interested. It's called Mind the Skulls by Hannah Kaita. And thank you, Hannah, for such a beautiful prize for your giveaway. Okay, so the next item that I received in the mail was my November club shipment from the Sleeping Bear Dunes Yarn Club from the Wool and Honey Yarn Shop up in Cedar, Michigan. Here's the skein for November. It's from 6 and 7 fiber. So this is a newer to me dyer. And it is in their Milo base, which is 75-25 merino and nylon. And it says wash in cool water, lay flat to dry, and then happy dance. So that's a really pretty color, and I am sure I will use that in something going forward. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful greens and browns and tans with a little bit of gold in there. So thrilled to get that in my November club shipment. Now, some of the items that I'm working on right now because I do not have any finished objects. So the first one that I want to show you is an item that I have had in progress since March. I joined in on a knit-along, the Rusty knit-along with Claire from New Hampshire Knits and that group. I purchased some Pluto Lopi for the Rusty cardigan, and this is the sweater that I'm working on. It's knit from the bottom up. You knit the sleeves and then you attach and do the color work and work your way up. So you can see I'm to the color work part. One thing I'm not a huge fan of when I'm doing bottom to up, I can't try it on. So I'm thinking the measurements, it's all gonna fit me when it's done, but it's still like, oh, is it gonna fit? Is it gonna fit? This is knit using these rolls, or these, I think they're called plates, I think that's what they call them, of unspun Icelandic wool. And I am doing it in the eggplant and just this kind of off-white color, Pluto Lopi. It's definitely a toothy yarn. It's going to turn into a cardigan, so I will be cutting open the front and steeking it. I purchased from I'm losing stitches, but that won't be a problem. I'll be able to get those in easily. Over the weekend, I don't know if you saw Claire, New Hampshire Knits, the Woolly Thistle, that's her shop. She had a sale going on. So I popped in there and I found some really cute ribbon that I'm going to sew into the inside of the button band. And then on another note, she had some great yarns that were on sale. Her, not the Pluto Lopi, but the Let Lopi was on, I think the Pluto Lopi was on sale too. So if you're interested in trying out that yarn, that would have been a really good time to get some. But I got the Let Lopi because I want to make, I'll share with you that next time, but I have a sweater in mind that I want to make with that. And for like around $50, I got yarn for a sweater, which is incredible. So I'm really excited about that. But anyways, back to the Rusty. It's going. I probably have a couple more weeks of knitting some color work and just kind of slowly making my way up to the neck. And hopefully by the next podcast, I will have that one done. The plan for the steeking, I'm going to use my sewing machine. I've watched a couple videos. I'm going to sew up both sides of where I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to cut up the middle, fold those under, and then attach that ribbon onto the one side. I do not know if I haven't really picked out any buttons yet. I did get some cream and black buttons that might look cute with it, but I'm not sure. I'll wait till I'm done with the button band to make my call on the buttons. But that is the information that I want to share with you on the Rusty cardigan. You can find everything that I've used, any mods I've made on my Ravelry page. I'm Treehouse Knits on Ravelry, and everything I talk about should be on Ravelry by the time this video posts. Okay, so moving along. Oh, and also one last thing. I am submitting this Rusty cardigan to the Slog Along Cal, but it ends in a week, and I don't think I'm going to have it done by then. So anyway, it was fun to participate in that anyway, and it got me going on it at least. I'm close close to the end of that one. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you, oh, my Christmas socks. I decided to pull out my Festive Sock Bag. I made this last year, a couple years ago. It's just got some cute gingerbread cookie kind of stuff on the outside. On the inside, I've got the red and white candy cane candy fabric. And I had a skein of, I'll find it here, Cascade Heritage Wave. I actually bought this a couple weeks ago from Garin House Yarn Shop in Holland, Michigan, and I actually saw that they had posted it on their Instagram and it called to me. So I went ahead and I wound it up into 2 skeins, and I'm doing my typical toe up 2 at a time socks. And this is where I'm at right now. I used a red that I had in my stash for the toes, and I found it's not changing color as quickly as I thought it would. So I'm ending up with 1 red sock and 1 green sock, which will be fine. I'm going to insert red heels and they'll be really, really cute. But I did a different toe this time. This is called the rounded square toe, and I saw it maybe a year or 2 ago. Quare Fiber, I think they're out of Great Britain, maybe London. She had a recipe and I printed it off. I actually saved it on my iPhone and found it the other day, and I really like it. I'm curious how it will wear on my feet, but you can see it's the increases are along the lines here in this square, and then as you're increasing, it creates the line in the front. I really like that. The lines are in the front and on the bottom of the sock. So I'll let you know if I like how they wear. I think I will. I have pretty straight across toes, so I think that they'll be fine. I am using a size 1 on these. I wanted a little bit more of a squishy, drapier, cozier sock versus a tighter sock that I would wear in a shoe. This is more of like a boot sock or a slipper sock around the house. So I'm using a size 1, and these happen to be my signature size 1 needles, and they're in the color green. So it was a perfect match. I feel I'll matchy-matchy with this particular project, which is kind of fun. This size bag for my 2 at a time socks, I kind of played around with different sizes over the last couple of years, and I've come up with a size that it works well for just a single sock too, but I really like the size of it for 2 skeins of caked up yarn, because the yarn stays in there snug. You can pull from the centers, and it just really works well for 2 at a time. I happen to have a couple more in my Etsy shop of this size. And I will show you the patterns that I have. I have this cute winter foxes bag. You can see the fox has got all different types of knitwear on, and the inside I did a silver metallic and white dot inside, and I like to put a bead on the end with some suede cording. Just kind of feels good to open and close. A little bit of a tab. I don't put the long tabs on my socks bags just because I don't really need them. These usually go into a bigger bag or into my purse. And when I put the 2 skeins in there, it's got a box bottom, so it'll open up. You put the 2 skeins in there, and then to work with it, I just roll it over, and now you have a little, kind of a little basket that you can work from. So if that interests you, take a look there on my Etsy shop. I have the foxes, I have this Naughty or Nice fabric, which these are all winter doors, holiday doors, and each of the doors have different sayings on them. It's kind of fun. I put 2 beads on this one, and this is actually recycled denim jeans that I've used, and the inside again I used that dot fabric, that metallic-y silver dot fabric, and I actually have 2 of those available. The only difference is this has a red and this has the jean tab, and the inside of this one is red. So if you're interested in trying out my special size that I like, especially for 2 at a time socks. Give it a try. It's also a bag that I use for one skein shawls and single socks. Like if I'm knitting socks 1 at a time off of a ball, I'll use that size too. But check them out if you're interested. And thank you to those of you who have already purchased some of my bags. I really appreciate your business. Thank you, thank you. While I have the bags out, I might as well mention I do have a couple of other sizes. This is that same fabric with the doors and the fun sayings, the recycled jeans. The pull on this is a little bit bigger. These are painted wooden beads, and then the inside of this one is red as well, box bottom, and this is more of a size for a 2 or 3 skein project. I like to line all of my bags with a fusible kind of fleece or just a regular fleece because I like the needles not pointing out of my bags, but it's also squishy enough that you can kind of fold it up and roll it up, put it into another bag. So I have those, and then I kind of got a little crazy on these little notions pouches because I needed a couple more pouches for myself. So I made these fun little notions bags. These would be great just to hold all the items that you need for a project. I have them in multiple colors. So check those out if you're interested too online. I've got my new little Treehouse Knits tag. Just stuck the treehouse on there. And there's another one. They all have different linings, and you can see them all on the Etsy site if you're interested. One last thing I wanted to show you. I don't think I've shown you guys in a while. My granny stripe blanket is definitely getting bigger. I have enjoyed keeping this, and if you follow me on Instagram, you might see it in the background a lot of times. I keep this bowl on the center of my coffee table. I love my Yarn-It that I've put my magic cake in there, and my crochet hook fits right in the hole there. And here's where I am with my granny stripe blanket. This is such a joy to have available when you've got the TV going. You don't want to do anything too, too mind taxing. I just pull this out, and it's actually nice to use some different hand muscles rather than knitting, to pick up that crochet hook and just do some simple crochet. This is turning out really, really well. I was really going for a single or a double stripe. I wanted the stripes to change color quickly, and so what I was doing on this cake is I was weighing every 10 to 15 grams of yarn. I would switch colors and knot up and wind, and that seems to be working well for me. I'm really happy about that. It being Christmas and all, I've been looking at some of my sock yarns, realizing I have a lot of Christmassy kind of colored sock yarns, so I think at some point I am going to take some of these green and red and pinks and even some yellows in their yarns and cake those up into a magic cake ball and make a Christmas granny stripe blanket. I think that would be a lot of fun. I have that in my Christmassy sock bag right now, but yeah, I think I might start that this December at some point. One fun thing that I did this past week with my dad, and I will attach some pictures and a short video in here of the process. My dad has been making felted slippers for the last, I'd say 6 months to a year, using up some old wool that he had in his storage. I think some of this wool is maybe his mother's or his mother-in-law's. I even think some of the wool might have been from when he went to Michigan Tech as a freshman in college, and that is actually when he learned how to knit. He actually learned how to knit over, I believe it was a break from college. My grandmother taught him and a buddy how to knit, and I'm going to insert a photo in here right now. That is a priceless photo. I love that photo. And it's just really cool that all these years my dad still can pick up the knitting needles and knit. Anyways, he has made these felted slippers, and he's having a great time using them, but he was worried that they'd be really slippery on the bottom. So he investigated a bunch of different options and came up with this. I think I saw, oh, I know, it was at our knitting guild. My mom asked the group, what do you use on the bottom of your slippers so that they aren't slippery? And somebody had recommended this item. It's called Plasti Dip. Here's a picture of it. And in true form, my dad made a really quick stencil, and we went ahead and we used this Plasti Dip and sprayed the bottom of his slippers. And here's the video here of how that went.
Oh, come on.
There's the Opa shaking. We're working on these slippers today, getting some grip on the bottom of these felted slippers. And we're using a special spray. There it is. Oh, cool.
That's exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah. Okay. And now you're going to lift it up. And there's your little... You've got to let it dry.
Should have done it back here, probably.
Maybe not. You don't walk on your heels.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. You can adjust. Oop. Problem solved.
Well, like, when I get it out of the way here.
How long does it say it takes to dry?
About 20 minutes for it to set, but you should let it dry for 4 hours.
All right. We'll check back in 4 hours. The 4 hours came and went, but I have since been over to their house. He was wearing the slippers and he said that it works really, really well. We thought maybe at first there would be too much of that on the bottom and it would feel really sticking to the floor, but he said no, it's perfect. It worked really well. So we highly recommend to you that Plasti Dip spray, and if you're interested in making it look nice, you could even make a stencil like the bottom pads of bare feet, or you know what I'm saying, that would be really cute too. So just a little recommendation for you on that. Probably some of you have seen a video that I put up a few weeks ago. It's a trip that my guild and I made to a local spinning mill in Bridgman, Michigan called Hoof to Hanger Mill. My knitting guild, I started about a year ago with a couple of friends. We're about up to 30 ladies now, and this was really our first venture out, our first field trip as a guild, and it was such a great experience. So I highly recommend that if you aren't part of a knitting group or a guild, that you maybe look for one in your area and join in. And I highly recommend if there is a mill that's nearby and you can go visit, I highly recommend spending some time and learning about the mill. If you did not have a chance to watch that video, feel free. I will put a link in the description box below to that particular video. And yeah, we just had a great time. Our knitting guild, like I said, has been around for about a year, and in the spring we went to a sheep shearing at one of our guild members' farms. We purchased a fleece as a guild, and we took that fleece to Hoof to Hanger Mill, and it's in the process of being spun up into, we asked them to spin it up into fingering weight yarn, 2-ply fingering weight, but the day was spent just learning about the process from sheep to skein, and we got to practice and watch the machinery work in the mill, and just gained a huge appreciation for the work that spinning mill, the folks that own the mill and work in the mill do. They have to know so much. I couldn't believe how much equipment there is and how you need to understand how to operate and maintain and manage that equipment alone. So do watch the video. It's about 30 minutes if you're interested, and I hope you really enjoy that video. So that, obviously, when I came home from that, got me inspired to do some spinning. And the first thing I did was I pulled from a bag that my mother-in-law gave me of wool that she didn't think she was going to spin up, and it would be good practice for me. One of the balls that she sent me it was roving, and it was superwash merino, and it's just so shiny and pretty, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. So I put it on the wheel and I tried for about 5 minutes and realized I need a little bit more practice with some longer staple length wool. So I put that away and I looked through the bag and I found some Coopworth and I found some Lincoln Longwool. So the first one that I did was the Coopworth. And I thought we'd talk just briefly about Coopworth sheep and some of the characteristics that they have. This is what I ended up with, and I'll plop, if I have, a picture of what it looked like before. Right here. The fiber that I got from her had some nibs or nubs in it, and maybe I should have, if I had some combs, maybe combed it a little bit more and fluffed it up a little bit more, and I would have gotten a smoother yarn. But overall, I'm really happy with the rustic feel of this yarn. But let's talk a little bit more about Coopworth, and I'm going to put some pictures of Coopworth sheep in here as we talk. Most of the information that I'm getting about Coopworth is from the Fleece and Fiber source book, as usual. Coopworth was actually named after Ian Coop, who was a college researcher in New Zealand, and he was the one that developed the breed in the 1950s using Border Leicesters and Romneys, which I'm not surprised because it does have a softness that, and it kind of it has similar characteristics to any Romney fiber that I've felt before. So Coopworth in general is known as a little bit of a coarser wool than others, but when I put this up to my neck, it feels relatively soft. It has a softness of about 30 to 36 microns, which the lower the micron number, the softer you get, the softer your wool is. Coopworths can have different types of fiber, and it depends on where they're from. Although the fiber always has lengthy staples luster, good crimp, moderate feltability, and overall better suitability for outerwear and utility textiles than next to the skin garments. But I must have gotten in my fiber a softer version because I could totally wear this next to skin. The staple length of the Coopworth was about 5 to 8 inches, so it's a lot longer than the merino that I was trying to spin. And like I mentioned before, the diameter of the fiber is 30 to 39 microns. And according to the Fleece and Fiber Sourcebook, a grower of this particular wool can work to create a softer, therefore lower fiber diameter fleece. The fiber prep, the fleece can be spun from the lock, from the fold, flicked or combed. It is usually too long for carding. And I did have long fibers, and I did feel the need when I was spinning it up to kind of hold my hands a little farther apart than any of the other spinning that I had done before. So overall, I really liked this Coopworth, and I would definitely try it again, for sure. I really did like it. The other fiber, I decided to go really long, and I went with the Lincoln Longwool. The Lincoln Longwool that the yarn that I got from the Lincoln looks like this. It was a purple and browns and even maybe black dyed fiber, and I'll put a picture in of what the fiber looked like before. And this particular spin, when I pulled the fiber out, it was really toothy. It almost felt like a really rough rug, and indeed this particular sheep breed is known for, you can use it in rugs and tapestries and anything that you know is going to take a lot of beating. So a little bit about Lincoln Longwool. The native sheep of Lincolnshire is the Lincoln Longwool, and it evolved from the time when the Roman Empire extended its reach to the east coast of England. These native Lincoln sheep were tall with long, coarse fleeces, but they were also thin animals that didn't provide good meat. Robert Bakewell used some of the native Lincolnshire sheep to develop the Leicester Longwool. Later, shepherds of Lincolnshire brought in some of Bakewell's improved Leicester rams to breed with the native ewes in order to improve carcass quality. Through continued selection, the Lincoln Longwool was developed as a recognizable dual-purpose breed by the late 1700s. So this is a really big animal. They're not only physically big, but they also have what Deb Robson says, they have big wool. They grow lots of heavy, long, outstandingly lustrous fibers that handle much like mohair. So from a Lincoln Longwool, you get a lot of fiber. Their fleece weight is generally 11 to 16 pounds. The staple length is incredible, 7 to 15 inches long, and I really felt that when I was spinning up this wool. I had to really hold my hands far apart. It spun up beautifully, and I was really surprised at how soft it was in my hand as I was spinning it versus what it feels like now as a yarn. It definitely felt a lot smoother when I was spinning it. Deb Robson says you can upholster a chair with this, weave a fleece or flat woven rug, or make yourself a bag that you can use every day without wearing it out. Weave tapestries that shine. And it does have a bit of a shine to it. Hard to see, but it's definitely there. So probably not anything unless I get into weaving or upholstering and wanting to make upholster a couch or something. I wouldn't even want this for a couch, but I can see maybe using it for felting for slippers, and you'd have an inside liner to it, or even mittens with an inside liner. These just seem like, this wool seems like it would produce a really hard wearing garment. So this was a little tip that I got, I think from the Craftsy class. I forget which one it was, but the J.C. Boggs Faulkner class, she recommended getting these repositionable bracelets that you kind of use when you go to a fair or whatever, and using those because they're waterproof, and I've used a Sharpie marker so you can put that on your wool before you wash it. And I just labeled that this was actually from Crown Mountain Farms, and I started out with 3.7 ounces of the Lincoln in the Magic Carpet colorway, and it yielded about 133 yards. So that is my Lincoln Longwool. So I hope you found that kind of interesting. I'm having a lot of fun just learning about the different breeds, and right now I think my favorite so far that I've spun up has to be the Corriedale, and then the Coopworth. I really did like the Coopworth. I think if it got so fluffy, it was a very fluffy wool when I spun it up. So I'm obviously a newbie here, but I'm having a lot of fun. So we'll leave you with that. So every once in a while I share with you something that is working really well for me that I think you might be interested, or at least some of you might be interested in hearing more about. I have always been a planner kind of person. I have always enjoyed keeping a calendar. I loved keeping a calendar in high school and in college. I always looked forward to every year purchasing the new planner. When I moved on to my professional life, I had a Franklin planner and went through the classes and always was in that Franklin planner store on Michigan Avenue. I think it was in, I forget which building it was in. I highly doubt it's there anymore. Maybe it is. I'll have to check it out. But anyways, I was a big Franklin planner person, and then when I had kids, I changed to a mom kind of planner. But I've never found the perfect planner for me, and I'm always searching, and it seems like I'm always changing around. But I think I finally found what works well for me, and that is a traveler's notebook used as a planner. So Size has always been a big deal for me. I want something that I can carry around with me. So I've had some planners that have been so much bigger that I didn't take with me, and then that defeats the purpose of being able to pull my planner out when I'm on the go and make appointments and whatnot. So I got myself what's called a pocket size planner, and this is leather. This is from a company called the Chic Sparrow. Chic Sparrow, it's made in the US. You can see their brand right there on the leather. I love the feel of it, as a knitter and a more crafty kind of maker person. I really like feel of things, and this just makes me want to use it. I love the leather. It smells like good leather, and inside I have a couple of pockets on both the inside and the outside. So I love this, and I love that I can use the strap, close it up. It's got a pen hook that I usually have my pen on. And then I found a couple of companies that I love for inserts. Now, if you're not familiar with Traveler's Notebooks, they have elastics that hold in different booklets. And the booklets that I started out using, I found a company called the 1407 Planners. And I'll see if I can get their information there for you. I'll put it all down below. And they make some great inserts. I'll show you the insert that I use in the front is the month insert. And that is, I'm always using that for planning and putting in appointments and whatnot. And then I have an insert that's a weekly insert, and this is the insert that I'm using right now. This insert is actually from a company called Lights Planner Action. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you should. She is so fun. Her name is Bess, and she has a great business going. Here's her logo. I don't think it's showing up very well, but lightsplaneraction.com, or on Etsy you can find her. And she's got different spreads, but the spread that I'm using right now for my week is here. I like that I can make all my to-dos, and then each day I have room for what appointments are happening that week and all the to-dos that I have to make. Down here I usually do some meal planning and any other notes I need there. So this works so well for me. Sunday night, what I'll do is I'll open up my monthly calendar, see what's going on for that week, and then I'll write it into my weekly setup. And then I'll work from the weekly setup all week, kind of crossing off what I'm getting done and adding in what else I need to be doing. And then when the next week comes on Sunday night, any to-dos that I have not got done on that week, I then put to the next week. I look at my monthly layout to see what's happening that week, and so on. So that's how I've been working on managing my household and all the things that are happening in my life, and it seems to be working well for me. Bess, also from Lights Planner Action, had a really cool insert, which is, and I've colored mine in, a Christmas insert that helps you manage all of the Christmas details that need to happen in December. She has she's got a section for Black Friday shopping. She's got a section for all the lists that you need to make for gift giving. And it's by persons, so you can write the person's name. Let's see if I can find it empty. You can write the person's name down, what the budget is, how much you actually spent in the item. And then not only is there section in there, there's also a December calendar. So if you want to just put in your December to-dos on the calendar, you can do it there. Your appointments or whatnot, which clearly I have not yet used, and I'm not sure if I will use it. I might use it for something different. It may be, I don't know. There's so many different ways that you can use planners. So that's, and then she's got this cute Christmas bucket list. You can take a look at what she's come up with, things that to do with the holidays, and check them off. She's got items on here like mail a letter to Santa, watch your favorite Christmas movie, donate a toy to a local toy drive, eat candy canes. It's just, fun if you're a person who likes to check things off like I do. And then she even has in the last page a place to record your Christmas memories, and you could keep this when you're done in December. keep it in a different TN, Traveler's Notebook. And then when the next year comes, you can kind of look back and see what your favorite moment was of Christmas from the previous year. And you can, another thing that's helpful is to see what you bought everybody the year before so you don't duplicate gifts. And you know how much you spent on them as well. And then there's a notes section. So that's just a really fun insert. And the inserts out there, there's so many, and there's so many companies. The 1407 planners and Lights Planner Action are the two that I really think are awesome. And so that's just my TN, and I thought that would be of interest to you guys. I'm turning around because normally I have my pen in here. Inkjoy makes a really cool, I can only find them online, but I have two pens like this. I gotta put it over here so you can see it. 4 colors, and usually I'll kind of color code my week, and it slips right in there. So that's my TN. Hope you enjoyed that. And I'd be curious, what do you all use? Do any of you use TNs? And if so, what are some of your favorite shops out there that sell stuff for traveler's notebooks, inserts, even leather out, the outer TN notebook portion itself? I'd be interested. So let me know in the down bar below. So, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, we're up to 20 episodes. I am so grateful that you have joined me along the way, 20 episodes in about a year. And just to show you my appreciation, I wanted to have a little giveaway. And I think what we'll do is we'll do it down below. I am going to throw in this beautiful skein of Mylan Weight Lana Grossa multicolor. I thought it looked like a really nice winter colorway. So with this particular skein of sock yarn, I'll throw in some other goodies, and we will do the draw. If you want to take part in this giveaway, I would love it if you did. All you have to do is make sure you're a subscriber to my channel, like this particular video, and then in the comments section below, let us know what tradition are you most excited to take part in this holiday season. I think it'll be fun to hear what neat things people are doing. And if you're not doing anything tradition-wise, just say that. That's fine too, and I will enter you in the drawing as well. We will announce the winner on the next episode of Treehouse Knits. Okay, so hope you can play along with that. So that's the end, folks. It's been great being with you this week. I hope you guys are having a great end of November, and I just look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Treehouse Knits.